Welcome to the Motley Croc Show. I hope y'all can hear me. I'm sorry about that delay. We were having a little bit of problems with our streaming company again. Sometimes it's glitchy, their system's overloaded, etc. So we were trying to iron that out a little bit. Hopefully, not too bad. 4 minutes in, we try. Welcome to the Motley Croc Show. We're going to be bringing in Jeff, the Manic Satanic. He's always with us.
Better late than never.
And of course, Lost Monster Files, Brittany Barbieri.
What's up?
Everybody here, all right? We all clear out there in the world before we get started on this crazy journey tonight? I got some questions, and it might get a little controversial.
Oh, I like controversy.
Yay!
I mean, I've been reading theories about some stuff, so I just kind of want to, look into anything happening cool in Florida lately before we get started on all that.
Not that I know of.
Nothing crazy, just normal, right? Nothing too bad.
Normal Florida shit. It's freezing cold.
As always.
Thanks, Jimmy.
What's up, Jimmy? God. It is very cold.
I remember one fan. He's like misery.
We've been having some shit times, man, with the weather lately, for sure.
Oh, it's been really crappy. It's
Thank you, Jim.
It's either on the verge of being too cold or it is too cold.
Thanks, Jim.
Yeah, today I got up and it was like shitty in the morning, and then it kind of warmed up a little, and then, for me it's okay. We can throw jackets on, do our business. It's always a problem for the animals. A lot of people that are new here. I have animals. Most of us do. All of us do. I mean, I have a shit ton of animals, and you can't always bring certain stuff in, but there's things that we can, and so it's all a lot up and down. It's just so stressful on them, which makes it stressful on me, and it's a nightmare of a time this time of year. Especially we're supposed to be getting that Arctic blast.
Mm-hmm.
How's he doing out there?
He's doing all right. I just right now he's just in I built a little pen out of like a aluminum raised bed. So it's big. I mean, it's the length of my garage pretty much, and about 4 feet wide. So he's got some room.
Good. Plenty. It's all he needs for the winter.
Yeah, he definitely seems like he's he'll sit in the corner and sleep a little, sleep during the day. So I try to get him outside when I can to go graze and get some sun when it's nice.
Yeah, they know when it goes down.
Oh yeah.
You want a raccoon, Jim? No. No.
They're great when they're babies, and then they get really shitty, from what I heard.
No, they can. What's up, Bill from South Florida? He's tuning in. Great.
Bill
from lovely South Florida. Hope the weather's nice.
Warm down there, pretty much.
So yeah, I was reading through some stuff. I might as well get started just to have a little bit of fun, because I'm sure we'll spin off to a bunch of different things like we always do. We digress. A lot of shows try to base their stuff on this breakdown of stories, and we really haven't had to do that yet. We just kind of do what we want. So let's just go on the fly, because I think that's when you get the most organic stuff. So there's all kinds of. Let's see what they. Oh, I got you.
What's up,
Sean? How you doing, bud? So I read all these different conspiracy theories, like Jeff's favorite flat earthers and so on and so forth, and the firmament and all this kind of shit, dude. So I found this one article and I started reading, and then I really, was thinking about it, and then I'll give my opinions. But they said that, I don't believe any of this. So you have to understand a lot of stuff that I really don't have any belief in. So I like to kind of poke fun at. And if you're new to the Motley Croc Show, we just kind of have commentary, and sometimes it's off color and sometimes it's not. And if you get offended, just turn it off. But at the end of the day,
more like it.
Yeah. Well, I don't want, if anybody gets offended, everybody's going to get offended by something. It's, so they said that the earth is under this dome, and it's where they send souls as a prison. So basically we're prisoners here, left on our own because we fucked up in another life. And so they regenerated our souls to this time, which can lead me to a lot of little veiny little avenues off of that. I'm gonna
a lot of rabbit holes.
Yeah, I'm gonna go into some stuff.
What gets me about that is, if we were being punished for something we did in a past life, why wouldn't we remember and know we were being punished?
And I agree with that.
Yeah, if you're not,
I agree with that. Or they send you back, and you only have a certain amount of knowledge, because there is a thing, and we talked about it with Ricky Rocket. They talked about DNA memory. right? So it travels
Oh,
on and
yeah.
on. So, like, for 400 years ago, somebody had something in their DNA, and then Jeff gets it from 400 years ago. So it's either could be like he knows how to make swords, like, and there's a lot of talent. Like you see people and they can like build a knife or create, like, that normally takes someone years and years and years to learn, or an artist, etc. Remember, this is a rabbit hole. I'm not saying I believe it. I'm just throwing.
I was always a natural at scrambling some eggs, so maybe that was my past.
So maybe you lived maybe you were, maybe you were during the 40 days and 40 nights, you cooked a lot of eggs.
Right. Manna from heaven.
Yeah. Right.
Absolutely. Hey, that's
so I was thinking, people like, oh, the world's terrible. And you see these people that are just born like just the poor things have to live their whole life. Like you have to think of all the different types of physical diseases like Down syndrome, mental issues, dwarfism, like dwarfism. So I got to thinking about that, and people might get offended, but what I'm thinking about is, what if they were in control in that, and they're like, okay, this guy was a real fucking asshole. We're going to make his life hard on earth. We're going to send him back as the people he harmed, or send him back as people he made fun of. Or we're going to send this person back, and then they're going to have a child that's like that, so they know what it's like, what they went through when they were being an asshole in their past life. Like, see how deep that can go?
Yeah, I definitely do.
It could be like if we were programming, right? If we're the Sims, I'm like, Jeff, this guy was really shitty, man. We need to program his next level. He's going to have a hard time because he's a real piece of shit. So let's give all of his kids cancer.
Yeah.
That's how I don't think it's really a prison, because there's just too many things, and like, I get all this kind of shit, but imagine being like born like somebody with dwarfism and your arms aren't long enough to even wipe your ass. Look how terrible that is. That's awful, terrible, man. You have to get step stools. You have to you can't go in normal places. You can't reach the sink. So if that was the case, and somebody really did that and put that person here like that.
Yeah, but
so who's in charge of them?
If they really wanted to fuck with somebody, they'd be the people who were born with their hearts on the outside or horribly disfigured, or
and that happens too. Like I see a lot of babies born with either no brain, or their brain born on the back of their neck, and their eyeballs look like Britney's pet frogs. A lot of times they look like Britney's pet frogs when I see them.
Oh God.
I've seen that, and they live for a while. I feel terrible. Like, why don't they just euthanize that poor thing when it comes out? Because it's not going to live any longer in a day or two. And it seems to me like it's in pain and terrified. Like, it's born with that little flat head, and then it shows the brain. It's like the size of a lima bean. Imagine all that processing coming in and looking around, and they're rolling you around and looking at you and holding you upside down. And
over the balcony.
It's so weird to me, man.
Like it. Yeah, it is weird. I see that kind of stuff a lot, and I feel for people like that. But maybe it's their parents that are being punished, or they're somebody that loves them, or if that was a thing, obviously.
Yeah, so if they're punishing people like that, God, maybe it's a serious punishment, and maybe some of us are like, because there's really successful people in this. Does that mean that they actually worked really hard and made it like P. Diddy? He worked really hard to get where he's at. He went to prison for it, but he had a really good time. I hope all that fun he had was worth it, dude.
Oh my God.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I watched the new documentary on Netflix about him a couple days ago. It was interesting. More interesting to see what he did before he got really famous, and who he ran with, and how he's tied to the East Coast, West Coast war, and tied to the death of Tupac and stuff like that. And he was definitely a scumbag before he was a scumbag.
Yeah, I think money just accentuates who you are.
Yeah, I agree with that.
100%. Like, it makes you who you are. Like, so I put this guy, like, I got a lot of people that send me really rant. Sometimes they send me stuff that's really cool. Sometimes they send me stuff that's really terrible. But this guy said that he was a witness to a Sasquatch. It's very hard for me to talk about this with a straight face, because I was going to send him to Brittany. Hey, what's up, Luke? How you doing? I'm going to get into exploring the unknown too shortly. So I wanted to send this guy over to Brittany. I put him on like restriction or whatever a little bit. So if he can't really see this right now, but he said that when he was a kid, he lived somewhere in, I think I want to say Indiana is what he told me. I'll have to pull it up and I'll send it to Brittany. That him and his dad were at this park up in the woods, and they were camping, and they saw Bigfoots throwing kids around at each other like they were playing ball with them. But he said he couldn't tell if they were midgets or if they were kids. Like he was serious. So the whole time I'm reading this, I'm thinking of Sasquatch playing football with midgets, dude. Like, I'm like, I have to send this to Brittany. Like, how is this even so people watch the show and then all of a sudden we get this shit. Like, what do you think of that? Like, so can you imagine, Jeff? You're like, hey, my name's Steve. And when I was a kid with my dad, we were camping and we saw Bigfoots throwing midgets around for like a football game. And we swear to God, and they believe it. Like, how do I? So I'm like, okay, I'll put this guy on restriction. So I don't really want to block these wackos, but I'm going to put him on restriction here. Maybe he wasn't. Football. Maybe there was a couple Sasquatch playing football with midgets. I have no idea. I have no idea.
Sasquatches in one place too. That's
humans, or because he was a child. Maybe they weren't people at all, and they were deer.
They could have been that, but
his memory was very sporadic.
Probably, but humans do it. Humans play midget toss and stuff.
Tossing.
It's called midget tossing. It was dwarf tossing from 2020 to 2024. Now it's midget tossing. I saw it come back up. It's back to midget tossing again.
Okay.
Yeah, they put it back.
Yeah.
I saw it advertised just recently in a bike thing, midget tossing. So I guess the 4 years that you had to call it little people tossing or whatever, now they're calling it midget tossing. I don't know. And the midgets own the company or dwarfs own the company. If somebody gets offended, I'm sorry, but that's what they call it.
It's a real
thing. That's not me. That's what they call it.
Yep.
You can get mad at me for bringing it up, but I think they're capitalizing.
It's a real thing.
They're capitalizing on their shortness. And they're doing a damn good job and making money, so more power to them. Right. And I also saw this thing called midget wrestling.
Yeah. When I lived in California, like the dwarf tossing was like a real thing. And one of my friends that worked with me at the time was a little person, and she was all about it. She's like, I get in a Velcro suit and I have one of my buddies.
Let me ask you a question.
And I think it's fun. She embraces
it. Where do we draw the line between little person though?
What do you mean?
Because you're a little person.
Yeah.
So like if somebody's like, there's a difference between dwarfism and a little person. I mean, even in animals like dwarf and then little animal. But
I'm dating a little person. She's 5 feet.
Okay, so does that make her a little person or a dwarf or just a person that's a little shorter?
I think dwarves, if I'm
not vertically challenged,
are smaller with
or horizontal,
regular size or proportionally sized features to them.
What up, Ricky?
Right,
Ricky Martin.
Yeah, that guy's here. I saw a picture of his truck. Looks good, Ricky. He took the front off of it, man. Looks good.
Yeah, Ricky
said, "I'm 5 foot, you bastard." But Ricky's not a midget, dude. He's just a smaller person. So
if you call Ernest and let you toss him anyway, he midget or not,
100%. That's what's cool about you, Ricky. We love you, bro. But if so, Ricky can't be considered like dwarf.
No,
he's really a small person. So a dwarf is not a little person; it's a dwarf.
Right. He's more like a troll.
Right.
Like Snow White, she had 7 dwarfs. The movie Legend, all the dwarfs protected a unicorn. Right.
Yeah. Yep.
But this guy really said that he saw Bigfoots throwing midgets around or kids, like footballs. Like he said, they would tuck them and throw them, and that his dad made him leave the campsite.
You know, where's a Bigfoot going to get a midget in the middle of the woods?
It's a very interesting story.
I mean, we're talking to a cryptozoologist, so
playing kid football.
That's to be honest with you, that is a first for me. I've heard stories of like from a long time ago, like a Sasquatch raiding and taking a woman.
I believe that.
In like tribes, I've heard that. I've heard that Sasquatch they like kids because it's like not like in a bad way. It's like they enjoy observing them and watching them, like a monkey would. Like they find them fun, but not to like take them, get them, eat them, do anything with them. Like there are stories of like they're very peaceful in the sense of that, but like in some
pure logic,
other
Craig.
Foreign countries, the
100%.
Sasquatch have been allegedly claimed to have taken women and like done heinous things to them and then just leave them in the woods.
Okay, so
go ahead, Troy.
Yeah, women, you don't think they would ask consent? Like they're probably consensual, right? Like if you spoke Bigfoot, would they ask before they did that?
Would they bathe?
To be honest, like if this was a real thing, no. I mean,
you don't think they would ask? So do you think
no?
So if they survive, if the woman survives, could she sue the Sasquatch? I'd like to know that. Now, these are the things that people want to know in the Motley Croc, because I know a lot of people want to come here and listen to real science. And Brittany and I
try it as a person. We don't know if it's a person or an ape, so we don't know how to try.
Right. So it would be me. So me, Jeff, and Brittany will give you an answer. But a lot of people come here because they want to talk. Like, people get real serious. They're like, so I was out there in the woods and saw this Bigfoot and he was eating fish and sharpening his rocks. That's cool, but that's not interesting on our show. I want to hear midget tossing, kidnapping women, raiding, pillaging Bigfoots, robbing, beating up bears, kicking fucking elk in the ass. That's what we talk about here on the Motley Croc Show. That's what makes us different, Jeff.
I agree. And, I mean, I imagine you're making Bigfoots out to be pretty rough around the edges, though, too. They could be nice.
It's funny because all the Russian cases, like the Sasquatch, are very aggressive, like way more than which is so strange. Like the accounts are like.
All right, let me jump back up to here too. Okay, this is Exploring the Unknown. It's Luke. Okay,
what's up, Luke?
So he's got they started about a year ago. They started their podcast on just exploring unknown things like cryptids and kind of crazy things up in their area. So check them out. I'm gonna be on there if you want to join, Brittany. I'm gonna go on to their show.
Sweet.
January 25th. So it'll probably release the next day or two after that because it's a pre-recording. Okay. So I told them to come on and check us out. So they kind of see what they're dealing with. I mean, I'll definitely, Luke, I'll definitely bring it down a notch for you for your show because I watch your show and it's kind of serious. They talked to Aaron from the Thunderbird show.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, he was talking about Thunderbird in their show. They did a really good job. And
awesome.
Aaron's like, I should talk to them. So he gave him, my contacts and we're going to definitely set it up for him. And I think it'd be really good to do. I think, if that's what they're into, man, let's talk some shit. But yeah, definitely check them out. Exploring.
I will. I'm gonna add them.
I'll do that tonight.
I'm doing
Aaron's
it right
good,
now.
dude. I love Aaron.
Yeah, they're good. I mean, they're good guys. They just, everybody's got to really start out. We all start out, and like I said, when we started this, it's either goes up or it's a clusterfuck, or I get kicked off. I was getting kicked off a lot because, everybody worried about getting monetized. And the reason I don't accept monetization on YouTube is because of their rules and regulations, and I fucking will not conform to that.
Demonetize this.
Yeah, I will not conform to that.
First of all, I really hope that all of this gets solved on Meta because I'm so over it. I got flagged just recently for sharing another creator's video. And I'm sure you guys have seen it because it's like trending of like, it reminded me of like a Daniel or a Cody. Like this kid was like honestly trying to save this rabbit. Like he hyper focused on it to save this rabbit out of the fire. Right. And I'm like watching them like Cody would have done this. Daniel would have done this. Like I could see Dan doing this on the side of the road. Right. And he saves the rabbit.
Yeah. I would have had to shoot Dan in the back so he'd lay there and burn because he ain't killing the rest of us saving a rabbit.
All right. So this poor kid, so like they film him. He saves the rabbit. He's got this little rabbit and he's like trying to get back off the road. So people were trending with it saying this guy saved a rabbit and people were saying it was from the California fires. But regardless, I was like, this kid is awesome. Like he stopped to save this rabbit. Like way to go, buddy.
Right.
And so all I did was share it to my stories. It was somebody else's post. It's a trending viral reel, not mine. I shared it to my stories. I get flagged and they're like, you're spreading, the fact checkers have flagged you. You're spreading misinformation. They have checked that this reel came from 7 years ago, not connected to the California fires. You are asked to take it down immediately from your posts. I fought it and I said, it's not my post. I'm not doing anything. All I said was he's a hero for saving a rabbit. I don't care if it's California fire, Australia fire. I don't give a shit when it was. Let's showcase this kid saving this animal. I think it's great. And so I fought it back. And then they came back and they're like, well, because you're monetized on certain reels, we thought this was yours. Well, guess what, mofo? It's not. So stop flagging me for not doing anything that wasn't mine.
I agree with you. So to touch on that.
Ridiculous.
Let me push some buttons. This post I got sent to me today, which was great. I'm sure the person who sent it to me is watching, so I'm going to acknowledge it because it was funny, but it wasn't funny at the same time. It's really sad, and my good side is saying it's really sad. Thank you, Explorer. That's cool. I'd appreciate it, buddy. That's going to be a lot of fun. We're having a good time. Now, listen. I saw this burnt pizza. It was black.
Oh, God. Where's this?
And it said, California-style pizza will never be the same, or that's the last time I ordered California-style pizza. I thought that was terrible. But you get flagged for sharing a rabbit, dude? Like, that doesn't make no sense. I'm sure everybody's going to be pissed at me. For those of you that I'm talking about, he's a fuck. Can't believe he brought that up. Well, it's on there. Nobody took it down. It's a burnt pizza. We all live in areas that you can get catastrophes. We live where there's terrible hurricanes. Got to make light of it. People lost their homes. I lost a lot of shit. Not near as bad as some of the people I know. But there's humor in everything, man. If you're not ready to embrace the darkness, you're not ready to embrace the light. So fucking you know, or if you're related to us, like this gentleman right here, he would laugh at something like that. You know, I mean, that's, you know what I mean? I mean, that's just something that you have to put light to something. There's been things we've gone through and we just make fun of it. Just make light of it because it happens. There's nothing you can do about it.
Yep.
Everything's got a little bit of humor in it. That's how we get through life.
Oh my God, Jeff, 100%.
You know,
100%.
Nothing's off limits when it comes to being funny. You know, it's.
I mean, just think about Justin keeping his finger in the freezer.
Oh my God.
Yes, he didn't want to lose it. He didn't want to lose his finger. It's not like, hey, cut my finger off and put it in there. No, he was doing something and the alligator took it off. He got it back and now he shows everybody it and stuff. And it's in his freezer and he puts it up like it's funny to him. He made humor out of a terrible thing. And that's the way you should be.
Or the fact that he went through the McDonald's parking or the McDonald's drive-thru with it in his nose.
Oh, geez, that's awesome. See, that's classic Justin right there.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying.
I think you should hand it to people and tell me he's giving them the finger.
Amen, Nathan.
If I had a piece of finger, you know how many free meals I'd be getting right now? I would just have it with me in my purse all the time and be like, there is a finger in my chili. Like,
see, to me, everything's like a journey. And you got to make fun of it. And Nathan's laughing too. And I can think about it. So my Uncle Gary was Nathan's dad. And I remember a time we were in Arizona and his dad took our fucking gold mini bike, dude, like a Bass Pro gold mini bike with a Bass Pro bolted on gold flex seat. Like it was fucking pimp, dude. 1980s mini bike. Fucking fire it up, dude. He hauls ass down the hill and then he turns around. He comes back and loses control of it. Lands on his back, bro. Never lets go of the thing. Slides up to me and Nate and my cousin Lee, his brother. And he's like, he like touches his glasses and he goes, that's how you don't ride a mini bike. You know, he's gone now. You know, God bless his soul. He's gone. You know, he's passed away. But I don't think about that. I think about the funny shit he would do. Like, I can race you. I'll race you for $100. And you go, all right, fuck you. I'll beat you, man. And you go to race him. He's like, oh, I can't. It hurt my knee. And he'd sit down. My knees hurt. He'd always fuck with us. And I just remember that kind of stuff, man. That's what I'm getting at. I'm getting at life. Like, you got to laugh sometimes.
Yep, absolutely.
Like, you can't take everything so serious. And allowing other things in the world to bother you, like wars and all the political things people are picking up on and things that are going on that we need to even worry about because there's enough in our own country that we need to just take hold of. There's veterans dying. There's mentally challenged people that need help. I mean, we have so many other things to worry about than to get involved in. Oh my God, someone made a pizza joke about the fires in California.
Yeah, I mean, I agree.
Speaking of that and conspiracy theories, did y'all hear the Pizzagate guy got gunned down by police?
No, that's really interesting. Was it a conspiracy or did it happen?
He got pulled over, and that he had a warrant, like a violation of probation warrant, and he got out of the car with a gun, and they mowed him down.
Oh my God!
Yep, I'll see if I can find the article.
So you think they like Omar Gaddafi'd him, dude? You saw what they did to that guy,
right? Yeah, Gaddafi.
Omar Gaddafi, man, they wrecked that guy. They wrecked him. But yeah, like I said, there's a lot of people in the United States that have mental health. I'm not a big believer in constantly shoving someone into a clinic and giving them drugs. You know, sometimes just human interactions, some natural behavior and some natural things I think are better to start with. And sometimes people just need to be loved, man, and like cared for and respected. And I think that we don't have enough of that. You know, everybody believes that their agenda is better than the other person's agenda. Yep. And then we end up with this war. Next thing you know, you got Bigfoots throwing midgets around and scaring kids. That itself.
How did you?
Because that's what I'm trying to say. You always got to bring it back to the humor side, like, you know, like, so of all the shit that's going on in life, I'm like, I'm telling you why, because I'm like, oh, look, there's fires. This is terrible. Animals are lost. How awful. Hey, man, I saw midgets being thrown by Bigfoots, you know, as I'm going through these things people send me. So, I mean, you have to embrace that darkness.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, like, and you get good times too. Like Ricky Rocket, he sent me a text. He's like, check this out. And he sent me this link. And it's Joe Rogan was talking to that fucking, the guy from Meta, whatever his name is. Zuckerberg. And he's like, he was talking about, like, he's like, do you know who, you know, Ricky Rocket is? Of course, Zuckerberg's like, whatever. Like,
of course not.
Fucking, what a dumb shit. And then he's probably going to kick me off here for that. And then he's like, oh yeah, Ricky's he's the real deal. He's a fucking black belt. Do you know how many people got to hear that, man?
That's awesome.
Joe Rogan's got a huge following. And you know, it's if you follow Ricky and you know anything about him, you know that he does practice his stuff. He does all of his jiu-jitsu stuff. And you always see him in there and doing it and stuff. But a lot of people don't realize that. That's fucking awesome for him, man. Like, I think that's really cool. And it got recognized. I think that's something to be.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Something to be said, you know?
Yeah. I see that every day, Matt. If I don't, joke around about some of the stuff that goes on at the hospital.
Amen, Matthew. Amen. Yeah, that's what Matt's saying. Hospitals and public safeties are full of dark humor. It's a coping mechanism, and studies have shown it works for mental health. It does. If you can laugh at something. My family always taught us to laugh. Like, I could have blown my arm off, and everybody would laugh till we got to the hospital.
That's how we coped. That's how mom and dad taught
So
us.
now when you said a joke or a meme, it's like, you guys, you can only get offended by what you allow to offend you.
Even Gaga laughed. Like you had that story when you were with him and you had him in the wheelchair, and I think you hit something or it was on an escalator or something, and he flew out of the wheelchair, and you both.
No, I threw him out of the
laughing.
wheelchair by accident. We were hauling ass across. We were in Washington, D.C.
Yeah.
And I was rolling him across the fucking field, and it was frozen, and I hit this pothole, and I just threw him, dude, like I catapulted him in the medieval. Like, he just flew out, landed on his face. I felt terrible for him. But we laughed about it after I found out he wasn't hurt, thank God.
Yeah, but even when you guys came home, we're talking about Gaga was laughing like so hard. Like, that's just how we are, like laughing at good or bad or otherwise.
So when you see something, you just got to go with it.
Yep.
You got to go with it. So people, that's what we do here at the show. All of us here, we joke. Brittany, not as much. She's a little more serious about life than we are. I know that I have. I know that my view on life.
It just doesn't come out.
That's the difference.
Exactly. And my view on life is a lot different, And again, it just goes to show you that you can do a lot of different things, man. Like if you were to see, you didn't know us, and me and Jeff were just at the mall or something, walking down a food court. They go, look at those two fucking.
Maybe that's a cute couple right there.
Look at those dirty motherfuckers.
I wonder who the husband is.
That's right. They would say that. Or look at those dirty. I bet those guys. I bet those guys are going to steal something. When in fact, Jeff works for the hospital, and we fly around following you around looking for shit that's probably not there. But nobody knows that. We're just automatically labeled as dicks.
Yep.
Assholes.
Yeah, because people judge by an outward appearance. I mean, they just do.
I stand against dressing up. If you don't want to dress up, don't dress up. If you want to dress sharp, right? But the fact that someone makes you dress a certain way or you can't come in here like, I'm sorry, this is the black tie dinner. What kind of fucking Satanist masonry shit is that? Get the fuck out of here. That's like people saying when you go to church, like, yeah, because this guy up there cares about what you wear to church. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. No.
Like, it's just so funny to me. Go to any Publix on a Sunday afternoon after 12:30 and you'll know exactly what I'm talking about. It's like these people are going to some fucking multimillionaire estate sale or something. It's
No, I try not to stand on ceremony if I can help it. I mean, granted, go ahead.
Oh no, go ahead, Jeff.
I was just going to say the way that me and Troy choose to look. Yeah, it's a choice that we make, but it's who we are and part of us. So if you don't like it, don't look.
Love you, Matt.
Yeah, exactly.
It's pretty funny.
I don't
love. Did you read Matthew's thing? The people love me when I had colon cancer and I had surgery. I said so many jokes about me being gay in my ass, and the final sign off before being put under was "Adios, muchachos." Yeah, you see, that's funny to me, Matt. That's funny.
Yeah, no,
and you're right, buddy.
I love
cannot judge someone.
Who can laugh at their own tragedy, and those are the ones that do so much better. They say laughter is the best medicine, but it really is. I mean,
I agree.
Attitude and a good headspace, it makes such a difference to how well you heal.
Hey, Amberly, how are you?
Hey, Amberly.
Long time no see, lady.
Yep. I don't.
I
don't think anybody should judge anybody by the way they look. Like, that is my biggest. Like, you sit there and you think about like the people. Like, if for me, like if I was walking,
like Brittany for sure.
What?
Watch her like a hawk.
Oh my God! Whatever.
Because she's like, oh hi, I'm a goody two shoes mom.
I do not say I'm a goody two shoes mom at all. But what I'm saying is like growing up being Troy's little sister and meeting individuals that he had friends with or associations with, like you learn so much about what people see on the outside and like how they quickly judge on that without getting to know the people. And I learned so quickly at a very young age that it was like, don't judge the book by the cover. Don't do that. Like at all. Because half the time the people you think are like, oh, that guy's so bad. He would, if you were in an alley, actually, no, that guy, if you were in an alley, would have your back and beat up every mofo that came down after you. You have it backwards. So I learned that from a very young age, and I'm glad that I did, because I learned a lot about individuals and learning respect for people. And I'm thankful for that, because I learned a lot from Troy and like learning from his people and things like that. And being around him where the people would be like, oh, he's got tattoos and long hair. Oh my God. And it's like, bitch, please. Because, you but are doing fairness, stupid shit in your house and you cannot judge. So do not judge anybody by the way they look at all. Like
front row for sure, Matt. For sure. And that, and people do that. And I got to tell you about back when I was getting tattooed, that was not a thing, dude. Like they didn't like that. You got to remember that we grew up in the 80s. And the reason I got tattooed is so people would leave me the fuck alone. Now everybody gets tattoos. Everybody gets tattoos to look at me, I'm cool. Like, they'll go roll their sleeve up with the grease on it and everything. They get a new one,
right.
And they walk around, you know what I mean? And they do that. Like, I try to hide it. And one of the worst things you can do to me, and I swear to God, I know this hurts people's feelings. Listen. Hello, Maya. We're glad that you popped in, Maya. Is when someone comes up to me and wants to talk about oh, I really like your tattoos, bro.
Yeah.
Like, look, that's not I want to tell all you young people out there that get tattoos, that's not the thing. Like, let's not evolve into that. Let's not ruin it because, there's pioneers that go way back to the 1930s and 40s, and that's not something you do. And let's not, I don't think anybody walked up to like Sailor Jerry and go, hey, I like your tattoos. And if Ricky, if you're still here, I know you know damn well what I'm talking about. It's just one of those things that you're like, okay, or they'll come up with like, look, man, they got Papa Smurf like sitting on a unicorn. You're like, okay, go fuck yourself. Yeah. Like I don't understand.
I used to like admire like the military men growing up from seeing like veteran military men that would have tattoos and stuff. Like for me, I always looked at them as like, they did that in a time to like distract their mind, or got the tattoo to like, for a symbolism or something, or a brotherhood or whatever. Like I always looked like it was like an honor thing, or like something you did because you earned it, or like,
or you were just fucking around with your friend,
or that. But like I guess in my head, like I looked at it
differently. Jeff, let me draw on you for a minute. Okay, then I get to draw on you. That happens too.
Right?
Or that too, yeah. Or like it was also like an indigenous tribal thing where like it was honorary and it was a really important
like
moment
the Samoans
in their life.
Right.
So like growing up with that, I was status. Right. And I guess for me, I was just like, there's like a respect behind it. Like there's so much more to it than just like, I'm going to go get Tweety Bird. You know
I think there was something.
So I don't know what happened over the years. Like even I don't have a tattoo, and not that I'm against it. I just don't. I guess in my head, I'm like, well, there hasn't been something in my life where I'm like, I want to put that on my body permanently. That is like an embodiment of that. Like I've thought about it with my kids.
I tell people like you overthink it. You just overthink it.
I don't think
I do, but like I guess I want like a tattoo that like, I have thought about this a lot. Like there are certain things within the Viking Celtic writings, like the old Norse writings, that I think are really meaningful to our family and to who we are. And I've thought about doing some of the original Norse work with like my kids' names in it somehow.
That'd be
like
badass.
Putting it on my back or something, or down I even thought about getting like an actual Viking blade down my leg. I've had these talks with Mom. Like this is legit.
Okay.
But I'm like, I want to figure out what it means to me first, design what I want first, and then maybe do it. But it has to be, because I've been through so much in my life that I feel like it is like a warrior honor. Like I want to do this to honor the scars that I've been through, to say I made it through on the other side.
That's deep. I don't really have anything like that.
Yeah.
I don't know, but I'm saying that's how I process, because I'm creative.
No, I get it. We each have meaning. We have meaningful tattoos for sure. Yeah. There are some that I have, but it's not, it's not that deep. Not giving fucks a way to go. It took me a while to learn that, but you're right, Brittany. Too many times people judge the inside and the outside is true. And then Judy said not to rag on Tweety Bird too much.
I won't, Mom. I know it's your favorite. I'm just saying. It's just a saying.
So yeah, I mean, if you think about it, you're going to get judged that way anyways. But I think it was Marissa that was telling me something about the way tattoos were viewed and how it got to the Western like to the Western society and how it was put down.
Mm-hmm.
I think it was Marissa, and how it was then trained into something that was evil to keep people. I mean, there was some. Well, it had to do with the natives and the indigenous people of certain lands. And she told me the whole thing, and I thought that was really interesting. And once you see that, you know, we live in such a small. We're so small-minded still. Like,
mm-hmm.
I mean, we really are. There's so many things. There's so many things to learn. I mean,
yeah. You got to do it every day, otherwise you fall behind. You know,
that's cool, Matt. That's really cool. Yep.
That's really cool, Matt. That's awesome. And yes, it was Marissa. Yes, Marissa. If you got time to, talk about that sometime, we'll do it, because I thought that was some really cool, interesting facts.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, we all have meaningful tattoos that we have that were just like, kind of like a big whatever, and then we have stuff that people you want to cover up because people don't want to see. Like my Disney tattoo is fucking amazing.
Oh my god, it's done really well though. Like it's such a cool tattoo.
I've got the Magic Kingdom tattooed with an alligator with a baby in his mouth, and it says Disney 2016 with a big pentagram in the zero. Yeah, because they were demonizing the alligator, so that's why there's. If you have an intricate mind and you really look at some people's artwork, you can really understand what they're doing. If you don't, you're just simple. Most people look at it and go, "I'll send it to you, Matt. I'm gonna send it to you later. I'll send you a picture. Remind me. Text me and remind me." It was like, "Oh, I can't believe you would do that." Well, what kind of dad would fucking throw his kid in the fucking water in the middle of the night
and not save it?
Mm-hmm.
Exactly. I think it was
from
a boy.
Ankle deep water.
You're going to get in trouble because you called it an it. It was a child. I mean, I think it's identified as a male, but
whatever. Still a child. He didn't save his child in ankle deep water because he was afraid of a 3-foot
Did
alligator.
firefighters feed the alligators? On that case, I never heard that. I don't know. Could have been, but I didn't read that anywhere. Yeah, probably. And so I have that tattoo, and sometimes I'll be out Disney, and I wear shorts.
You can get them for free with that. Really.
Yeah, and they look at it and they go, "Oh, look, a Disney tattoo," and they'll be like in line, and then all of a sudden it's dead silent. They get quiet about it, But
I'm sure a lot of people do, Marissa, because I mean, tourists will feed gators, feed anything.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know about that, Marissa, because, and I could be dead wrong, but I remember going over a lot of that stuff with Flavio, and they killed like over 50 alligators in there. They didn't know which one did it. So I don't know about anybody feeding them there. I didn't hear about that. I'm sure someone said that because someone came, but I didn't, like in the actual report when it was going on, I didn't hear that it was, it didn't go after. Here's the funny thing, Marissa, again, it didn't come up to the father. It grabbed the child because the father was in thigh deep water, but up to the child, it was head. He grabbed the smallest thing he saw. So to me, I think it was just profiling and misidentification in the dark of something going across the water like a raccoon or a duck or something, easy prey. And he snatched it.
But he let it go, though, didn't it? Didn't the gator let the child go?
Yep. Yeah. There wasn't a lot of damage to the child as far as they thought. He drowned.
Drowned. Yeah.
But I hear it all the time. What parent wouldn't go after it, no matter how big it was, or die with their kid, not run away? Help me!
At least,
I would have.
So what happened out of all that is, yes, it's unfortunate a child died, but he died young. He didn't have any life experience, so it's not like he's going to miss being alive, because all he was doing up to that point was shitting his pants and screaming. That sounds harsh, but the father left. But then everybody demonized the alligator, so they wanted it. They put a sheet over the Rainforest Cafe crocodile. They covered up TikTok and the Peter Pan ride because it was
ridiculous,
so heartbreaking.
They stopped selling the merchandise. They stopped selling all the merchandise.
To see a crocodilian. As a matter of fact, I like TikTok because I do believe TikTok was an American crocodile in Captain Hook. I also think that Captain Hook was a hero, and he was trying to save those little boys from that Epstein's Peter Pan Island, and he was taking little boys. I watch that cartoon, man. You watch that cartoon now, and you listen to the way they talk.
Now you watch it, I'm like,
these little boys. Let's get them on there. These fat, pedophile-looking men that were catching them. Like anytime they catch a pedophile, he's always weird. He has a mustache for one, always. He's really obesely overweight. Looks like he's sweating Crisco.
They got those 70s glasses, like Jeffrey Dahmer style. They're kind of squarish, roundish.
Yep. And I sent this video to my family where these guys caught this pedophile. He was trying to tell them that the 3-year-old came on to him, and he ejaculated in the baby because he couldn't get her off in time.
I can't. Don't. I can't.
Well, I already sent it to you because
some
this
of
guy
those
caught
I
him.
don't watch because it's a snap in me.
He caught him and they were pretending undercover and he was talking about what he did. And he's like, oh, you don't understand. And then right when he went outside,
beat the shit out of him.
The cops just nailed him to the cross, bro. Nailed him.
I hope
but this guy does a great job of busting those people. This isn't the guy that goes around beating them up. He really catches them and turns them over to the law. Yeah, but the minute you start beating on somebody, sometimes you start.
Children. He was a child snatcher and brought him to Neverland.
If I worked in that prison, I would be announcing it to all the inmates because those guys are gonna play with it. I'd be like, heads up, this guy did this. Have fun with him.
Okay, let me jump back. Let me jump back real quick because here we are. We're on a topic that gets people riled up. Some of those people are adults. Some of those people that are doing that are not pedophiles. They're adults with childlike minds, and they're not always being sexual. They're just starting to feel feelings that you would normally feel at a 9 or 10-year-old body, but they're a 40-year-old because they're severely mentally retarded. They need to be taken out of society, not beat on. So this guy, when he catches them, he turns them over to law enforcement. He gets all the evidence. He interviews them. They admit everything. And then they usually save the child and he turns them over to the law because there's been a lot of times he's wanted to, I'm sure. Because he's like, are you kidding me? He goes, well,
you're a human.
Right over there is law enforcement. You're going to be getting into that black car because we found, pictures of your children that you took, that you're selling of your children online to some people, some people in the school, some teachers were buying it for their husbands at home. So they had teachers' aides at the schools buying it from this guy to give to their husbands so that their husbands, it was just easier to trade that way. So that's been going on for a long time. Don't let it get to you because it's just part of life, Brittany. There's nothing you can do about it. Just protect your own.
100%. I just, there's that part of you that's that Viking side where I want justice, and justice will not come from our justice system. That's where my brain goes.
I think children are protected with, weak or the mentally challenged or severely handicapped. Those are where you need to be protecting people. There's just too much bullshit. I say it all the time. We kill too much of what we shouldn't, and we let too much live that we shouldn't. I mean that's. I see it. I see things, and it just makes you wonder: is everything a big test? Like you'll see somebody like a kid. He goes into Walmart. Let's just use that as an example. He steals himself a stereo and some cool shit. Gets out in the car and he gets 15 years in prison. Somebody goes and fucking fucks a child and they're out in 12 months.
Like it, Daniel.
So that is what's up, Daniel?
It's messed up.
Yeah, feed them to the Crocs. I think I want to say Charlie Daniels' song, Simple Man, not by Leonard Skinner's version. When he talked about tying them to the stump, let the alligators and the rattlers do the rest, that's what that reminded me of, Daniel. It really did.
I like that.
Yes, in prison they do get a swift punishment, but they separate them. So, and I think it's wrong.
Yeah,
I think it's wrong. And even back when Jeff and I grew up, back in the 80s when we were coming up, everybody was, if you were gay, you were a pedophile. What do you think about that bullshit?
Yeah, that's wrong.
Yeah. That's what was propagated when we were kids. And I'm thinking, you motherfuckers, which again is why I can't stand school systems. I can't stand the school system. I can't stand anything that goes there. It's all institutionalized shit. It always has been. Everybody's different. There are bright children. There are dumb children, and they make everybody the same. And they were telling lies, man. Especially what was it when the Rockefellers got involved?
Oh, everything changed. What was
the statement? Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, they wanted workers. They wanted just workers.
Yeah, that's wrong, Matthew. That's wrong, and people do it all the time, bro. And I I just think it's exactly. Yeah. And I think that's they were teaching that, man. So you're making people paranoid. You're making them scared. And then innocent kid. I remember how shit was done to human beings in the 80s. Listen, I saw it firsthand. I never was part of that. I just don't understand how people could get riled up like that, but it's that.
Yeah, it was socially acceptable to bash people for being different, in the early 80s, and people just went with it. Sad.
Troy, your audio is gone.
Yep.
You're gone. Yeah, it's gone. Your audio cut. That was because Troy was touching on topics, and they said turn his mic.
No,
right now.
it's
I'm
okay.
just kidding.
I came back. It was I moved my mic, and I guess these Yetis are real sensitive. Turns it
Mine
off.
does that too.
I agree with that. Matt. There's always a boogeyman, no matter what.
What I wanted to say was, though, I want you guys, because Troy hit on.
Yeah, that was his statement. I don't want thinkers. I want workers. Very clear.
Yep.
And then that's when they start penetrating the school system and changing the narrative.
Yeah. Well, if you really want to learn about smart people.
There's a movie called Philadelphia with Tom Hanks. I know he's controversial and everybody's calling him whatever. But if you watch the movie Philadelphia, you'll get a really good idea of what the fuck was going on back then.
Oh, the way they demonized HIV and AIDS in the 80s was insane.
It's awful.
Kids were, persecuted at schools. I don't even remember that there was a kid named Ryan White who they ended up making like a documentary and then a biopic.
Oh, I remember that.
He was like a fifth grader or something like that, and they tried to get him. The parents of the other kids wanted him not to go to the same school, and this kid was way ahead of his time as far as being careful. He knew if he was bleeding, carries Band-Aids and stuff like that to cover himself up. But parents are still, I get that you want to protect your kids, but make sure you know the monster that you're fighting.
100%. And I'm normally. In my past, I've been known to be a violent person. And I believe in violence. I won't say that I don't. I think violence is fucking necessary sometimes. Sometimes the only way you get someone to think is having to return a little of their violence on them. But at the end of the day, it all comes down to education. And talking to another human, demonizing another human for whatever reason you want to demonize them, and then breeding that into a large mass of people to create lynch mobs is unacceptable.
To the kids,
100%.
And some of the people that feel that way, they don't. Man, that's Praise Princess D. Knew it wasn't like they said. Yeah, exactly.
Mm-hmm.
So here's the deal: when you teach someone, you got some of these people that were propagating some of that hate really didn't even know why they were hating.
Probably because they were confused.
That happens now.
Well, yeah. Oh, of course. And here's the deal,
all
Jeff.
over the place. The internet.
Besides being confused, so I come from a motorcycle club background. I'll just give you that. And I would come into other events in different areas or different states where we had opposing clubs. Like, because I didn't ride around in a little fucking bicycle gang. There were top clubs. And I was part of one of the top clubs, right? So when you go in, some of these probates and newer RMs, these regular members that just get patched, they hate me because I'm in another club. They have no idea why. And we have the same fucking ideology. But because of something that was done in the past that had nothing to do with us or them, they held on to that. Like it's lineage or something. No. There were times that drugs were being ran. There were times that women were being sold. There were times of trafficking. All that was going on. And it was a turf war about who's going to make money. Well, that stuff's not going on right now. And if it is, then it is. But not enough to where they're doing the same thing. Laws are different. They got to be smarter. It's not the same thing. A lot of these guys now are lawyers, doctors, mechanics, bike builders. They're just bad motherfuckers doing their thing. But you would get on some of these people and they're like, man, fuck that guy. You're a fucking such and such. And I'd say, what the fuck are you hating on? Do you even know why you're hating, or are you just doing it because your organization did in the 1970s?
Right.
What are you thinking about, man? You know?
That's exactly right.
And so you see that in groups, large groups of people and masses of people. And I really think that's
100%, Matt.
Something that, hate is a taught thing, 100%.
Yep.
And it's usually taught out of fear, as with everything we learn.
Generational, too. It's passed down from parents to children. The children see their parents hating. That's the right thing to do.
So true, Daniel. So true.
It's like that. Honestly, Daniel, it's like that in every world. You just find people that propagate bullshit and it's true though. The animal kingdoms, that's why I don't do it. It's like, oh, why don't you do this where you're not? Because I don't want to, I'm not arrogant, man. I don't care about what I have. I know what I do, who I can teach, how to train. I do my own thing. I don't have to show it to everybody. I don't have to tell you that I'm better than you. I don't care about that stuff. That's not me. If you're in the industry for that reason, no matter what industry you're in,
you're in it for the wrong reason.
You're just a fucking douche nozzle, and you're going to get yours one day.
Yep.
To me, I'm a specialist, and I just learn. That's all I do.
Honestly, like that was something I was going to bring up for you, Troy, as we're going back a little bit to when you were talking about demonizing the alligator. Again, like even now, which is I had brought it up to you, and you're like, "Oh, this is just effing ridiculous." But I found out more details to it. And I know Marissa made a video on it about the alleged Filipino crocodiles pretending to drown to lure people
which was a
in to eat
monitor
them.
lizard. Yeah, I know.
Right. Yeah. Well, I know you knew because we talked. You were like, look at this effing ridiculous shit or whatever. And like, what's fascinating is how that started to trend and why it became such a large topic of believing that it was real.
What's up, Hugo?
And like you're talking about, like all of a sudden something happens and now all of a sudden everybody's believing it. So they're all just jumping and everybody's got their pitchforks ready. It was because Joe Rogan had showed that video and Forrest Gallant backed it, saying, yes, that's what they do. And so Joe Rogan was like,
he did say that though. Before we say that, he did. Joe Rogan
allegedly, from what I was
allegedly,
told,
he said
from an individual from Australia who handles the Crocs in Australia, and Marissa knows who I'm talking about. And I got it in a message that literally Joe Rogan did show this video out of curiosity, saying it's a high trending video, and now apparently Crocs are luring people in, pretending to drown. And from what I was informed, Gallant also spoke about it and said, yes,
here's my problem with it.
Alleged specialist. And I know that's what Marissa was like, this has to stop. And a lot of other people now are starting to make it like this is misinformation and this has to stop because it's demonizing the animal.
Well, I can tell you that I've seen water monitors, even in captivity, do that type of behavior when they grab onto a fish underwater and they're fighting it, rolling around, holding onto it with all their might. So it's not a stupid behavior. Like, it's something that they do. He was probably fighting something. I'm really not clear what he was doing in the video. He could have been dying. He could have been having a seizure. We don't know. Somebody could have hit it in the head and thrown it in the water, and then it was seizing out. I mean, we really don't know, but they do that stuff as well. And yeah, and I know why you did that, and I thank you for doing that, Marissa, because it's important to. She made a video about it. For those of you that aren't watching and listening, she made a video about influencers saying it was a croc and how that was ignorant, and it was, because again, we're going to loop that back. When you create that type of hate, you create that type of lynch mob, and then you end up with that lynch mob, and then you have problems. And that's right, Matthew. Social media is made as facts. People don't research; they think it's true. 100%.
Yep. That's where we get our
I think there's right
memes.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah. And so if you're in the industry and you understand, you know that that's not what that is. But if you're not, and you're just a normal person or just a panic-stricken person, they're just going to be scared. And I think if you're scared of snakes and lizards and stuff, that's okay. I'm sure your Jesus still loves you. Don't fucking move to Florida. We don't want the phone calls. We don't want the calls about come and kill this animal because it's walking through my golf course, or there's a snake in my yard, because you chose to live in the Everglades and you come from,
and you're surprised that there's reptiles in your backyard.
The Midwestern United States, right? And all you're used to is a chicken and the occasional cow. Don't come down here and disrespect what's make our Florida. And I know there's a lot of crazy shit people think happen in Florida, but there's a lot of good stuff too. Any state has the idiocracy that they call the Florida state, does it? We just happen to have a cool state and everybody wants to be here. And it's usually not the locals. It's the dipshits that come here.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. Doing really stupid stuff.
There's a lot of them.
Christ on a bike. I want to meet for someday. Yeah. I hope you get to. Great video, by the way, Marissa. Craig said it was a great video. You really enjoyed it. And it was.
Yeah.
It was really
somebody told me, I haven't seen the video, but I honestly haven't Googled for it, to be fair, that allegedly Forrest agreed that they are doing that.
Yeah, I don't want to say anything if he didn't, unless because some people hate.
That's why I'm just saying across the board. It was sent to me through a message that they said they had heard Forrest agree with it, that they are known to.
Well, I have never in my life heard.
I haven't Googled it. I don't know anything
species
about
of crocodile or alligator or caiman ever pretending to drown to lure someone in. I have never heard that.
Yeah. And I know Marissa had mentioned it.
And I'm not going to say that they're not smart enough to do that. If they were taught to do that, they'd fucking do it. I'll tell you that. They can be taught to do something like that. That I could tell you. But I've never heard of it being done. Well, it's not necessary. They're skilled hunters.
Like the fact that like the people in the video were laughing.
I know.
So either they knew that it was a joke, or they didn't have any remorse for the fact that this animal may have been drowning. Like, not that it was a crocodile, but that it may have actually been drowning in the water. And like everybody on the deck was just laughing. I'm like, this isn't funny. Like, why isn't someone trying to save this animal if they were allegedly drowning?
Because I've seen people beat alligators, right, with sticks and stuff. And I've seen them go into convulsions where they'll throw their head back and their body will arch. I've seen people do cruel shit like that. Okay. So I know that if somebody hit the fucking animal or whatever in the head and threw it in the water, they could make a video like that. But it was definitely a monitor.
Terrible. It's absolutely terrible. Absolutely terrible. I can't stand it. I have no remorse for anybody that can do that to an animal or anybody.
People do, and they make it a big thing. They make it a big thing, but you're going to find a lot of that. They do it to snakes too. So you're going to find a lot of it. And back to people, I mean.
But I just wish people would like ask the professionals, right?
That's
like
fine,
don't rely on like an influencer. That's not their specialty. That's not what they're an influencer for a reason. Like, why don't they ask the specialists? Like, I didn't see the Joe Rogan episode, so I don't know what Joe Rogan actually said about the video or if he had a specialist on during that
Joe
time.
Rogan doesn't usually say anything stupid. Okay. Normally he really does his research before he opens his mouth. So
that's what I'm saying. I haven't seen the video, so I'm curious to see who he may have brought on as a specialist. Like, I don't know, like to talk about that video, or maybe they just said it was intriguing. Like people are saying allegedly that they're doing this, but I just don't understand why people don't ask the actual people doing the work with these animals or in the field on any aspect. Like, I just don't get that mentality of like believing. I don't get it. It's, it's sheep. It's just sheep to me. Everybody's just following what they see, or they see a video and now it's like fact. You know what I mean?
That's funny.
Like, it's just crazy to me. I don't get it. Like, even recently I was kind of taken aback, which I'm not really, because I'm not surprised. People are just ridiculous nowadays and they're just assholes no matter where you look. And there's a lot of these private group chats like on Facebook and stuff for cryptozoology or for people in the paranormal that are true believers that can go on and just talk about their accounts, talk about their sightings, talk about their experiences. And there's no judgment, no trolls, no nobody. They're vetted as best as they can be to be able to talk freely about their accounts. And everybody's like, wow, that's really cool. Like, I wonder what that could be. And like one of the ones I'm a part of, literally these people are coming in just trolling. So you're going through the vetting process to be a part of that chat group to say, yeah, I'm a believer. I don't like any trolls either, only to come into the private group chat to troll people. Like, what is wrong with you?
Yeah,
Jeff. Freaking A, dude.
He doesn't do that. I'm kidding.
I just have fun with it.
No, but you wouldn't go through a whole process to go through a private group chat to attack people so that they just have a space of their own to like have these conversations.
No,
like,
definitely
you're
not.
a pretty low douchebag. And I'm going to say this now for any of you listening that do that. You're a douchebag to go out of your way to convince the admin that you are a believer just to infiltrate the private group chat to attack these people.
I agree with that for sure.
You're a douche. And I guarantee you, if you had the balls you pretend to have behind your keyboard, you wouldn't do it to my face. I can tell you that, because you don't have those balls. You're safe behind your keyboard, but if you were to my face, you wouldn't say it. So stop doing it. It's rude, it's horrible, and it's in every field. And I'm tired of all those trolls just doing it because their life sucks. I'm sorry it sucks for you.
To me, I enjoy it, trolls. You can troll me all you want because I thrive on hatred.
You
can say whatever you want. You can say whatever you want. I love it. Call me the Discover Channel Satanist. What I saw it all. I've seen all
I don't care. You can.
You can't find those guys. Couldn't find their way out of a paper bag. They're not real. Bunch of paid actors. Keep saying it because every time you add it, man, you just add comments. Keep on, man. Keep on, keeping on. No, you don't have to like me, but keep talking about me. I'm cool with it. Whatever you want to do.
What bothers me about it is that we get people that have like really cool accounts or really interesting accounts that really happen.
Exactly, Daniel.
And they won't come forward with it because their fear of being attacked. And nobody wants to be attacked when they're asking a genuine question. It's just.
Well, Daniel made a valid point. He said snake killers go into snake groups to post pictures of the snakes they just killed.
Douchebags. It's ridiculous.
It's not hard to kill a snake. Nobody's.
But here's how you kill that off. You don't pay attention to it, man. Elevate your mind. Like people send stuff like that, try to irritate me all the time. I go, look, man, I go on past it. Like, because if you acknowledge it, like, fuck you, you stupid asshole, you're like, and they're like, hey, and they get worse. If you don't give them any fuel, then they just get bored and stop. They're stupid.
It's true.
I get
that's
annoyed
just somebody
that are not kind.
Come on, man.
Like,
they're still masturbating into Coke bottles and eating Cheetos and playing fucking Sonic the Hedgehog. Okay, we don't.
Well,
I don't really fucking care about this.
For anyone listening to this, I am no judgment zone. If you have an account, if you have a sighting, and you don't want anybody to judge you, you can
100%,
tell me.
Matthew. That I'm
here for you. I'm here to listen because I believe that you had that experience, and I want to hear it. So I'm
going to say as working with that,
stand it.
As a skeptic, I do believe that you had that experience. And if it's real, that's what we're here to determine. Okay. Because there's a thing called the placebo, and you can actually convince yourself of something that never happened just by being that much of a believer. So you always really have to dissect what you're doing. Dissect it. I won't take you at face value. I'll be the first one to say it here live. I will not take you at face value. And I have interviewed people. I've done it for the show. I've done it with other people. I've done it with Brittany, and I catch a liar pretty quick, right? Because inconsistencies come out. I study behavior. So I look for it, and I find it really quick. I can see your weaknesses. And when you're making stuff up, I can think of some, and I'm not going to use the names right now, but we've done it. Now, there are some people that I'm like, listen, this guy really had an experience that got to him. And I can't tell you that he did or didn't see something that he says he saw, but he was that shook by it. Something happened to him. Right. And then you have people that just want to get on TV, or you have people that just want to be in something so they can act like they're part of something because they're lonely or they're depressed and they want to be part of something. You have those two. And I overlook that. I go, okay. But then you have your malicious liars that just want this fame, and you guys got to watch it.
Yep.
You know what 100%.
I mean? 100%.
This is what I tell people. I'll say this. Go ahead.
Oh, no, I was just going to say, like, out of every 10 lies, there is one truth in there. So we have to pick through all those lies to find that truth.
It's like,
but you have to treat them all equally to get to that truth. Otherwise, the truthful person will shut up and not tell you.
Yep. No,
so it's hard. It's a hard job, but it's part of the investigation, interrogation of it.
It's one thing that people
definitely have to.
Spreading things that they think are true that are not. It's more the thing that really pisses me off is when people purposefully make things up, when they alter pictures or they alter facts to fit a certain narrative. No matter who's doing it to who, it's still
they're 15 minutes of fame, bud.
Right? It takes a real asshole to do some shit like that for sure.
Yep.
And that's good. Sometimes me and Justin can be a little judgmental, so I'm not saying that we think you're fake or whatever. But I mean, I'm like that sometimes too, but I really have to dig into it. My job is, we do animal behavior. That's what we do, predator behavior. And I think what's important about that is we have to isolate everything so that we can say, look, I want to be able to look at Justin and say, that's not what that is. We clearly know that this is not a grizzly, or we clearly know that this is not what a black bear does. This is interesting. So we got humans, or we got this. I'm not saying that I never want, yes, AI is a big deal, Matthew. I'm not saying that I never want to believe in anything like that. I'm just saying that for me, I have to really dig it out, because it's like I tell people, and I had this conversation with Marissa, a lot of people, they like to throw academic stuff in your face, academia, and they look down on you. I would much rather go to war with someone who's been to war than someone who read about it in a book. That's all I'm going to say. And number two, when you have children, you two should know this. When you have children, nobody comes with a manual. You don't go to school for it. You fucking learn. You live it, you learn it, and you share your experience, and then you grow stronger by sharing your experiences. Just reading something out of a book and going out and catching a crocodile and, oh, I know how to do this, and I can draw blood, and I can trim their fingernail stuff. I'm a biologist. I don't give a fuck about that. Good for you. I'm not taking that away from you. Good for you. Great. But there's that, and then there's experience, and experience goes a long way, right? So there's a few people I'd get in the water with big animals, and there's people I will not, okay? And there's some academia I would never get in the water with, ever.
Good.
So
yeah,
I understand where that comes from, and everything has to be checked and thoroughly went through. And like what Matthew's saying, you got to science, you got to test it. You absolutely do. So in our field, we get a lot of mix and matches. And even when we're looking for animals that we know exist, like we were looking for the Apoporeus river caiman, dude, the Apoporensis, and they found it. I really believed it was there anyways. I mean, an isolated part of the jungle producing animals, but come on. Life finds a way. That was said in Jurassic Park. Jeff Goldblum said, life finds a way, and it does. So with that being said, we can end our little stream tonight on a good note. At least we had a good time. We're going to be checking out some cool stuff. We'll definitely be back next week like we always do. We'll find something else to try to touch on. And hopefully none of us are being punished on this prison to, come back as something we don't want to be, or, there's just so much to it. I mean, we could really have spun off on that. And then about the 25th, we're going to go on and deal with the Exploring the Unknown. Brittany, if you want to come on with that too, we'll discuss it. And,
absolutely.
Maybe we can talk with them about what they got going on, and maybe they'll like me, maybe they won't. We'll see. But I know they'll like you. And I think that it's going to be a good show, and we'll have fun with that. And then we'll come back again here. And
yeah, buddy.
We love you too, Matthew.
Sending this over to you guys.
Thank you, Craig.
It is true. So just so it's all public live right here. It's true. The person who texted me this was telling the truth. Forrest Gallant did do a YouTube video on the wildlife expert breaks down crocodiles luring people into the water, that they do hunt people like that.
Well, so, I need to learn about that.
There's the Joe Rogan interview with him about hunting in regards to his viral reel on, oh my God, they do lure people in. So they were telling the truth. So the alleged was fact. So I just sent it to you guys. There it is.
100%, Daniel. I agree with you too, big time on that. I think he's dead nuts right on that one. Rather teach someone who's green than someone.
We don't have to undo their bad habits.
Yes.
Yeah.
Thanks a lot, man. I'm glad you like me. I'm sure we'll like you too, bud. I really want to meet Forrest Gallant in person. I bet you do, Marissa. Hopefully they're luring pedos. That's right, Daniel. Fuck yes.
I will set up some popcorn machines if there is ever a day that those two get to be in a room together. I will be eting popcorn with my big soda, just enjoying it. Hell yeah, I do too. I would be like, here she goes.
The difference is, and I'll say it.
Eat him alive.
I'm going to say this real quick before we get off the air. I'll say this. I will never sell myself out to tell a lie like that, to make something up just so I can get views or be a star. I don't give a fuck about that.
100%.
Okay? Nothing.
Well said, Troy.
I do TV, and Brittany will tell you I fought tooth and nail a lot of times about things I'm just not going to say. I don't care if it gets views. I don't care if people. I'm not doing that because it's a lie. I'm not going to demonize a living thing. I'm not going to make myself look like a moron. Right?
100%.
I'll lay out in the woods with binoculars and look for Bigfoot all day long. That's cool. I'll do it, but I'm not going to lie about a living thing, especially if I know better. I just won't do it. I don't need the views. I don't need to be cool. I'm cool in my world for myself, and that's all I care about.
But the difference is that what you talk about, you walk in those footsteps.
Right. And all the guys that I associate with,
and they don't live in that life. Right. You do. Every damn day your life is danger. I don't give a shit. I've told people this, like, say what you want, but these are the real deals. Like, they're not just like, there are influencers that pretend to be the real deals, but then there's people that are the real deals that don't have to flaunt it. Like, that's just who they are. And that is who my brother is. That is who Justin is. And it's just ridiculous. I'm like, you guys need to shut up and sit down. Like, they would eat.
Well, it's okay. That doesn't bother me. But at the end of the day, I surround myself with people who have experience and know it, and it doesn't matter. And I think that's all I care about, because I want to learn. If I can't learn from you, you're useless to me.
Yeah, they say discretion.
We all are learning. I agree with you. Yeah, 100%, exactly, Jeff. Exactly.
When people talk about being rich or being powerful or being smart, or these are the people I pay the least amount of attention to, because they feel they have to let everybody know. If you're 100%. One of those things, people know anyway. They don't need to be told. Hitler didn't have to tell anybody he didn't like Jews. Everybody knew.
Exactly. That's
the one thing he never had to say. Thank you for bringing it up.
You just knew.
Exactly. You just knew it was the mustache. But, that was a pretty extreme example, but I kind of wanted to show, I don't know.
It's true though, Jeff. That was a great example because it makes sense.
Of course.
Jeff's allowed to say that, folks.
Yes, Jeff.
If I said it, they would have fired us. They would have been.
That's right.
Put off the air.
I'm a recovering Jew.
But when you come out, what's that?
I had somebody attack me recently. They told me that I wasn't, like, all I wanted to be was an influencer. They sent me a message to be like, you're not a real cryptozoologist. You just want to be an influencer.
Okay. And who cares?
Suck. And I was like, I texted back. I was like, thank you. And you're blocked. Like, because I was just like, what?
I think to myself,
I was like, I am true to who I am on my social page. I'm not here to have 1 million followers. If you want to follow me, great. If you don't, you don't. It's me.
Yeah, I don't even give them energy. I don't care. I just click it off. I'll tell you what's funny is if I go into the jungle,
it's humorous to me.
If I'm in the jungle and there's a dangerous situation with wildlife, and I'm there with Flavio, Justin, Jimmy Riffle, and a few other people that I can count on my hand, I know we're getting out of there. All of us are getting out alive because there's about 300 years of experience there.
Oh yeah.
Okay, so when you think about all that, putting that together, you come strong. And I've been in the water with Justin a few times. And you just got to understand, like, I know how to work with Justin. people don't know how to take a back seat a lot of times. They try to be a cool guy and show off. Sometimes take a back seat. There's somebody better than you. I know that. That's what makes me successful in my career. I know how to step back and let someone who's doing something do something, right? Because they've been there. If you feel like you have to constantly say something and show off and say, no, I don't want anything. I mean, to me, there's people I know that are young and I see them all the time do stuff. And it's like, man, you don't realize the damage you're really causing for yourself and everybody in this industry and everybody else, but it's okay. We were all young. We all make mistakes. I can't hate them for it. They're just doing what the best of their brain capacity can do at the time because they haven't learned yet. They haven't been there. And that's really what it is.
I love learning.
Matt, Flavio.
Fun, I think like if you think you know everything and you don't. Right. But I think if that's how you really feel, then get out of the field. Please get out of the field. Like, because you're going to get somebody hurt or you're going to hurt an animal or the animal's going to get killed because of your stupidity. So like, get out of the field. Or like, if you're in my field, have to have heart. Get out of the field. Like, just get out of the field. Like, everybody's still learning. It's all growth and it's all good growth. I will say though, real quickly, that working with Troy and Justin, and this is God honest truth, and anybody who knows this, Jeff, you know this, people that have been around Troy and Justin working together in an environment, I swear to you, Troy, and you know this because this was a note that they're like, you guys actually have to use words. They speak telepathy.
Yeah, we got in trouble for that.
Okay.
Well, that's not hypothetical joking. What you're saying. No,
it's not literal. Like, it's not like they're like, listen, right. But they know each other so well from working together for so long. And as Troy has said before, there are people that you can trust in the water with and people you can't. He has built that with Justin and Justin knows that with Troy. They have that really good built kind of brotherhood of understanding each other in those environments. But getting to see that, as I have over the years with many people Troy has
That's humbling. I appreciate that.
But watching him work with Justin more recently, even like you can't explain it. It's like literally like they like if you're watching a baseball game, you can see the conversations happening between the players, but no one's really talking. There's like certain little gestures that they know what that means. Troy and Justin literally talk in their heads through those gestures and they know what they're doing. And it was even during the show, like they were like, can you guys say what you're like, say what's happening right now? Because we know what's happening.
Very true, Daniel. What it is that again, behavior, body language, movements, blinking of the eye, pulling your little pinky in when you're nervous, twitching, shoulder twitches, muscle flexing. We study behavior. So when I work with Justin, I know Justin's movements. I know how he works. I know how he maneuvers. I know where he's going to go because I've worked with him for so long. So him and I can move like a greased machine, not in the way that Jeff's going to say, but we work really well. We worked really well together like that.
Yeah, I've heard that.
And we work like a serpentine belt, and it's you have to, because if you don't, you get killed. I never try to step on Justin. I won't do that because when he's doing something, I know what's up. Even if he gets bit, I don't jump on there and let's let whatever he says. What do you want? You have to understand that. And yes, they did. They were like, you guys need to talk about, but sometimes doing what we're doing, as where Justin was grabbing that alligator, talking sometimes causes distractions. Distractions cause mistakes. Mistakes are then exploited, especially by the animal. Mm-hmm. So sometimes you really got to focus on the animal and work. And I hope that shows through some of the show and how we end up doing it. And I'm an old man, dude. I don't mind relaxing and watching the young guys jump in there. And I don't really care.
Justin enjoys it too. I mean, he's done it his whole life.
We're all there now.
He's like, I'll go in. Let me see what's in there.
I've seen Justin just out of nowhere run in and jump on a caiman or try to. Remember when we were in South Florida with John and Justin and Troy and Flavio are playing it all out, and I see it might have been Flavio just kicked off his shoes and ran and jumped in the water.
He will do it too.
Yeah. There is something, like that little child, that little boy wonderment that we all wish we still had from being a little kid. Justin still embodies that when it comes to animals.
Yep.
Because
he's the ultimate man
being on the road with these guys, as long as I haven't in the field with him with this, it was like any chance there was we're at a gas station and he catches a shrew and you can hear the damn thing screaming and he actually catches the shrew.
It is biting the shit out of him. It's funny.
And it's hilarious, but it's like he's got eagle eyes. He can Troy too. Ridiculous. And we'll pat Troy's like, did you guys see that? We're like, no. And it's like this little tiny lizard on the side of a road, but Troy saw it. But like, it's just funny to me. Like it's like, I know what I'm doing. I'm gonna go get that animal. And he picks it up and it's like, and I've told people before, if there's an animal here, they're going to find it. And they did every time, even in snow. And it's like, they just
thank
know.
you for that. Let's not carry it on too long. Let's kind of wrap the show up. My nephew's like that too. He could get out there and work with them. And Cody's extremely good with animals. If you ever see that stuff,
Chris.
Hey, Chris, what's up? If you ever see my nephew with him, he's the same. And Justin will tell you the same thing. Either you have it or you don't. Cody's another one that has 100%. It. He can get in with any fucking animal. And I mean, he can maneuver around them like you ain't never seen. And it's, you either have it or you don't. If you try to have it, it shows, you know, and you really try.
And if
you know what I mean? Matthew knows. Yeah. He knows what I mean.
And if you don't have it, just remain humble. It's okay. You don't have to be great in everything. It is okay that that's not your field, even though you wish it might be, or you wish that you had that ability. It's okay.
Or just get to it. Or just get to that level. Just work your way to that level.
Right. Keep learning. Stay humble. Learn from those that you can learn from.
Again, if you don't have it, you just don't have it. I'm sorry. Like, you can practice all you want, but it's just not going to work the same. You have to understand it's a thing that you have. You're born with it. Everybody's got a gift. You just got to find it.
That's right. That's 100% right.
Appreciate everybody coming out to the Motley Croc Show and supporting us like you do. We love hanging out with you guys and talking. I love the comments because we get to interact with you, and we really get to talk to everybody here and really listen to what you have to say. And I love to learn, and you guys tell us so much cool shit. And I know I enjoy it. I'm sure Brittany and Jeff do. And we really enjoy you guys and interacting with us. And even if somebody negative comes in, great. And we'll talk to you too. We have no problem with that. But until next week, folks, we appreciate everything you do. If you want to check out our shows, the YouTube's open. I just load everything there. It's a cheap way for me to store the shows and keep them all going. And thank you, Chris. And
we love you, Chris.
Keeps everybody going good. And I really appreciate everything. And Chris, I know you guys sent some stuff out to the facility. I'm going to go get it, the stuff you sent to me, and I'm going to put it on and see how it works for me. But I appreciate everybody coming out and checking with us, and you two for coming in and always meet me here. I guess have a great night.
Awesome.
And we'll see you next week.